All right. Good morning, students. Yeah. Shubh Prabhat, Pritesh. Morning, Richi. Morning, Abhishek. Morning, Ravi. Good morning, Samruddhi. Right. All right. So, yeah, let's start with the next topic or next chapter. Right. This is something regarding to that. We'll come back to it. Yes, Kishore, we are starting the new chapter today. Yeah. So, yeah, we are starting with surface chemistry. We are starting with surface chemistry, right? So, what does it deal with, right? So, we'll go. This chapter has been divided into three parts. If you see it from board's point of view, second PUC board, it has a 6 marks weightage, right? And there is a 1 mark question and 1 5 mark question. So total 6 marks weightage. JEE mains 1 question, NEET also 1 question. CET 2 questions. Right? 2 to 3 depending upon the year to year. Right. So we are going to divide this chapter into 3 parts. So adsorption might take us 2 to 3 classes to finish. Right. This is the first part of this chapter. Catalysis. We have already seen the effect of catalyst in the last part of the chemical kinetics. We'll see the types of catalyst and all in this. Enzyme catalysis, all those things. So it might take us 2 classes. Colloids, it might take us 3 to 4 classes. Right? Colloids is the last part of the chapter. So the chapter has been divided into 3 parts. Now we are going to start with adsorption, right? And before I start this chapter, the 95% or let's say 90% of this chapter is theoretical chapter, right? Only I would say 5% of this chapter is having some problems solving and all, like numericals and all, right? So barely there is something which is having problems in it, hardly 2 or 3 concepts. So 90% of the chapter is theoretical, right? Definitions, reasoning, all those things, right? Examples, processes, all these things. So that's the reason we'll be just explaining the process, explaining the definition, giving the example and going faster, right? Wherever there is a numerical part, graph part, we'll try to explain them. Right. So let's start with the adsorption. Or in general, we are first discussing what is surface chemistry. Surface chemistry, surface chemistry deals with all the phenomena which occur at the surfaces or interfaces. Right? All of you know what is a surface. What is an interface? Right? What is an interface? No. JEE mein you don't get assertion reasoning type question from this. Objective only. You will not get NTA question from this, most likely. You will most likely get a single correct question from this product. Right? So interface means separating the two bulk phases, two different phases when they are separated, or the point where the two phases interact is known as interfaces, right? So for example, if you have a liquid bulk surface, solid bulk surface, the boundary separating them will be known as interface of solid and liquid, right? It will be known as interface of solid and liquid, right? Human skin, you can say it's an interface between your blood and air, right? That type. Now, what are the different types of surfaces interfaces you can have? Between two liquid there can be an interface. between liquid and gas, then between liquid and solid, then you have between solid and gas, solid and solid. These are the 5 different types of interfaces we generally study. Can anybody tell me which we have missed? Can anybody tell me which out? There are 3 phases, so there should be 6, right? We have missed gas and gas. We have missed gas and gas, right? Gas and gas does not act as a phase. That's what is our next question. Why does a gaseous mixture does not possess a interface? Why does a gaseous mixture does not possess a interface? Very good, Ravi Kiran. Why does a gaseous mixture does not form? It forms a homogeneous mixture. It forms a homogeneous mixture. Yes, Ganesh, you can see this. So gas and gas do not form an interface because they completely mix with each other. They diffuse into each other, right? They completely mix with each other due to complete miscibility, right? Due to complete identicality, or their all atoms or all molecules are similar, right? There is no interface in mixture of gases, right? This is very, very important. All right, so let's move ahead with different types of phenomena which occur at interface. First slide. This was our first slide. Priyanka. There's nothing I said here. I just said the definition of surface chemistry, which deals with the study of phenomena occurring at the surface or interface. Then I said, I had given the example of interface, liquid-solid interface here, right? Then I had told you how many types of interfaces are possible. Then I said gas-gas interface is not possible. That was our question. Then why gas-gas interface is not possible? Because they completely mixed with each other, right? Now we are seeing what are the different phenomena which can occur at interface, right? Crystallization of water, right? Or formation of ice. It's also a process at the interface between the liquid and solid, right? So this process also occurs at the interface. Medicines are also, some medicines are also formed by crystallization process, right? So it's also example of crystallization. Sugar molecules are also crystallized from water. So again, there will be a solid liquid interface, right? Salt crystals, your NaCl also has crystals. You know, all of you know, well known, all of you are very well aware of the structure of NaCl. So all the process are here. It is same, Athar. It is same. Nothing different, right? So all of this processes involve solid liquid interface, right? It's generally example of crystallization, right? Now some more example is corrosion. Corrosion phenomena also acts as interface. If you take O2 molecule, water molecule, they come and get adsorbed on the surface of iron, right? They come to the surface of iron. There is a gas, there is a solid. So this rusting also occurs at this interface, right? Between a gas and solid, there is an interface where this rusting will occur. So you can see the rusting occurs at this interface, gas-solid interface, right? Next example is, all of you know this process also. This is like, you know this ki hydrogenation of vanaspati oil to vanaspati ghee, or hydrogenation of oil to ghee, right? You have already done this in organic chemistry. All these molecules have unsaturation. When you pass them through a catalyst surface, right, hydrogen gas is adsorbed on the nickel surface, right? So these are liquid. So liquid will be interacting with the solid for this process. We have studied its mechanism also in organic chemistry, right? So we have studied its mechanism also in organic chemistry. So there will be a solid liquid interaction, right? There will be a liquid gas interaction also. So there'll be different interfaces formed in this process, right? The reaction occurs at liquid solid interface and gas solid interface, right? So this reaction also occurs at interface. This is also a phenomenon of interface. Now we are moving towards the what we need to study in this surface chemistry. I have already told you. We'll be studying with adsorption. We'll be studying catalysis. We'll be studying colloids. Correct? Aditya, M between two bulk. That is what our first slide meant, Aditya. That means you didn't notice the first slide carefully. Separating the two bulk faces. The boundary, I had told there also, the boundary which separate two different faces is known as interface. The boundary which separates two different phases is known as interface. Solid, liquid, liquid, gas. We have already studied this. Now, we'll be starting with adsorption today, right? Catalysis and colloids will take later in the classes, right? So what is adsorption? It sounds similar to a word called absorption. It sounds similar to a word called absorption. So let me tell you, both of them are different. They are very different. Absorption. Adsorption and absorption. What is the difference between them? We'll come to it, right? So what is your adsorption and absorption? Both are different phenomena, right? So let us see what is absorption first. What is absorption? AB, correct? When one substance is uniformly distributed throughout the bulk of the substance, right? If I take, this is your surface, right? If I add something into it, which remains at the surface as well as in the bulk, in the bottom. So if something is uniformly distributed in the whole body of the substance, then you say it is absorption, right? Then you say it is absorption, right? Example, if you take a ink bottle, you dip your chalk in it overnight and take it out. When you cut your chalk, you'll observe the ink has gone inside the chalk also. You'll observe your ink has gone inside the chalk also, right? So ink has been absorbed by the chalk. You'll say that. Ink has been absorbed by the chalk, correct? That's a good example for it, right? Now, if you take, this is the example of absorption where one substance is uniformly distributed throughout the bulk of other substance, throughout the whole body of other substance. One substance is uniformly distributed throughout the whole body of other substance, right? Let us take what is adsorption. Now, if I give you the example of adsorption, you have already studied in organic, right? If you take nickel surface, right, and adsorb your hydrogen gas on nickel surface, so will your hydrogen gas go inside the nickel? Will your hydrogen gas go inside the nickel? Answer is no. So your hydrogen gas will remain only on the surface of the nickel. So if some substance remains only at the surface of other substance, does not go into the bulk, then you say it is known as adsorption. So adsorption is a surface phenomena. It is a surface phenomena. Right? Adsorption is a surface phenomena, whereas absorption is a bulk phenomena. It is a bulk phenomena. Right? Now, if you take, yes, Veerbhadra, you are right. Now, if you take the same chalk, I was about to come to that, Veerbhadra. If you take the same chalk and write it on the board, blackboard or whiteboard, or you can take a marker, write with a marker on a whiteboard. Does your ink of the marker goes into the whiteboard? Answer is no. It remains only on the surface of the board. Therefore, you will say it is an example of adsorption, right? So adsorption is a surface phenomena, absorption is a bulk phenomena, right? Does that point is that point clear to you? That surface phenomena is adsorption, D, and bulk phenomena is absorption, right? B. Now, in adsorption, there are two components. In adsorption, there are two components. In a solution, generally, there are two components. What are the two components of solution? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what are the two components of the solution? Obviously, solute and solvent. So what is solute? Solute is something which gets dissolved in the solvent, right? Something which gets dissolved in the solvent. Now see carefully, solvent may you have ENT. ENT. Similarly, adsorption also has two components. That is adsorbate and adsorbent. Adsorbate and adsorbent. Correct? Adsorbent and adsorbate. So you see again, the suffix part is ENT, just like solvent. So whatever is the role of solvent in a solution, same is your role of adsorbent in adsorption, right? So adsorbate is something which is adsorbed on the surface of the adsorbent. Adsorbate is substance which is adsorbed on the surface of the adsorbent, right? Now let me give you the official definition of adsorption. It is the accumulation and retention. You can write accumulation and retention. It is the accumulation and retention of molecular species at the surface of the solid or liquid. This process is known as adsorption. It has two components, adsorbate and adsorbent. Adsorbate is that component which is adsorbed on the surface of adsorbent, and adsorbent is that component on the surface of whose adsorbate is adsorbed. Correct? So it accumulates at the surface of adsorbent, right? It can be a solid, liquid, or gas. Whereas adsorbent provides the surface for adsorption. It can be solid or liquid. Adsorbent cannot be a gas. Adsorbent cannot be a gas, right? So I hope the definition of adsorption and absorption is clear. Both of them. All right. So Sakshi, which part do you want? Sakshi, can you tell me which part do you want? What is retention? Retention means if it is adsorbed, it will remain there. It should not happen ki it will by its own go. Retention means retain karna. You have to retain it, right? Sakshi, can you please reply adsorbent and adsorbate? I'll explain you with example. If you adsorb hydrogen on the surface of nickel, then nickel is your adsorbent. Nickel is your adsorbent. Nickel is your adsorbent. And hydrogen is your adsorbate. So adsorbent is same thing as solvent, in solution, right? Solvent is what? In which solute is dissolved. Similarly, adsorbent is what? On the surface of which adsorbate is adsorbed. So adsorbent provides the surface. It provides the surface on which adsorption will occur. For example, hydrogen gas comes and gets adsorbed on nickel surface. So hydrogen gas is your adsorbate and nickel surface is your adsorbent. Is that clear now, Sakshi? Wैसे there was nothing to, like, there was no rocket science here. It was easy. So you can see here, this is nickel and this is hydrogen gas, let us say. So hydrogen gas is getting adsorbed on the surface of nickel. So nickel is acting as adsorbent, right? अरे आदित्य, कैसी बातें कर रहे हो यार आदित्य? What do you see here? Adsorbent cannot be a gas. It will always be a solid or liquid. Hydrogen is a gas. Hydrogen is a gas. Can hydrogen be your adsorbent? No. Can hydrogen be your adsorbent? Aditya. Then what is your adsorbent here? Hydrogen or nickel? फिर थोड़ा तो यहाँ पे everything I have explained, man. एक बार सोचो. Think. The problem is your asking doubt does not irritate me. But whatever comes into your head and you clearly ask, you don't think about it. And when you don't think about it, your growth of thoughts will never happen. You'll never think, you'll never improve. That's the problem. Okay? Dust on the table is also example of adsorption, where table is your adsorbent, dust is your adsorbate. Okay? Correct either. Oil in water is adsorption. No, oil in water is a colloid. Other oil in water is a colloid. We'll discuss it separately. Rusting of iron, yes, it's also adsorbate. It occurs at interface. Rusting of iron is also adsorption process. Changes on the surface or adsorbent can be done. Answer is yes, it can be done. Right. Yes, Danush, whatever I'm writing on screen is also adsorption. Right. Now, let us see what is the general difference between the pictorial difference, which I have already explained. Adsorption is a surface phenomena. Bulk absorption is a bulk phenomena. So particles will be uniformly distributed at the surface as well as at the bulk. Right? Here your adsorbent is liquid. Here your adsorbent is liquid, or you can say it is absorption, so it does not matter. You can simply write gas particles are absorbed by liquid. Whereas here you have taken nickel surface and hydrogen gas on it, let's say. So here gas particles act as your adsorbate, and your solid surface act as your adsorbent. It acts as adsorbent, right? So it's a bulk. You can see here it's a surface phenomena. It does not go inside. Correct? Heterogeneous mixture can be considered as adsorption. No, you cannot consider them as adsorption always. It is not adsorption always. It may or may not be. That depends. Again, the condition is, Manpreet, if it remains only at the surface, Manpreet, you will say adsorption. If it is uniformly mixing, right, then it's even if it is to some extent also mixing, then it is not adsorption. Right. Now, what are some examples? Let us take some examples. Water vapors are absorbed by silica gel. You must have seen this packet. You must have seen this packet when you get some courier, right? When you order something online, right? You must have seen this packet, especially in the cosmetic products. In the cosmetic products, you see this packet. This contains silica gel, right? In shoes also, it contains silica gel, right? In water bottles, empty water bottles, they keep it. It contains silica gel. What is the purpose of silica gel? Silica gel can adsorb water on its surface. All the water molecules can be adsorbed on the surface of silica gel, right? That's why it is added there, right? Can oil in water be considered as adsorption? I have already answered it. It's not an adsorption example. It's an emulsion. Emulsion is a type of colloid, so we will consider it under colloid Khushi, right? Yes, Athar, it is. Can we use it to absorb dirt from shoes? If your dirt contains moisture, then yes, Mohit. If it does not, then no, right? I have already answered it, Pranav. Some changes can happen. For example, surface can become thin, but it is not necessary, right? It is not a significant factor which you should observe here. Sometimes changes may happen at the surface, right? Example is rusting of iron. ठीक है. Why silica gel asked to be thrown away, sir? Because once it is used, it is poisonous. मतलब it's not good for your health, right? The silica gel, right? If you inhale the fumes from it, right, it settles down in your respiratory tract, which creates respiratory problems, right? Silica gel creates respiratory problems. ठीक है. Microscopic droplets on our skin. It can be, Pritesh. It can be. What is the formula of silica gel? Silica in general is SiO2. In general, silica is SiO2. Silica in general is SiO2. So it's a gel form of silica. ठीक है. How to use silica gel means wherever you want to remove moisture, add silica gel. Simply pour it. It's porous. It's porous. ठीक है. It's not only silica gel is used here. It is also used in chromatography. If you have studied textbook, silica gel is also used in chromatography. Right? Chromatography में, there is a stationary phase and mobile phase. In chromatography, silica act as a stationary phase. Right? That's why the organic chemist in the lab, right, I have used silica gel. It is used for column chromatography, to be precise. It is used for column chromatography. So silica gel has different porous size. The gel which you see in your couriers is very big porous size. But actually silica gel can be very small, powder-like also. So that silica gel, when you pour it in a burette, lot of fumes come out, lot of powder comes out. That powder, if you inhale, it creates a respiratory problems. ठीक है. Veerbhadra, no, you will not consider it because electrons will not remain only at the surface. Electrons will not remain only on the surface, na? It's not necessary they'll remain only at the surface. They might even interact. Can silica gel be colored for art? Very good question. I appreciate such kind of question. I feel very joyful when I see such questions. Seriously. I feel like I should go to the moon, travel to the moon in a SpaceX shuttle and come back. I seriously feel that. Yes, beta, it can be. Silica gel can be colored. It's a dehydrating agent, correct. Silica gel is a very good dehydrating agent. It removes moisture. So it's a dehydrating agent. In fact, in your fridge, everything, people used to keep it, right? Yes. See, Veerbhadra, the species which you are getting it adsorb should have some mass, should be physical quantity, right? Electron is considered massless, almost. In empty bottle, what is the use of silica gel? To dry your bottle, Kishore. To dry your bottle. Your bottle should not contain any moisture, which is kept for long duration of time to remove any moisture in your bottle. Yes, Chandana, yes, I am answering that only. Silica gel is kept in the bottles to remove any kind of moisture present in the water because moisture for a long duration of time can cause harm to your body. Okay? All right, I have answered a lot of doubts on it. I am not willing to spend one class on silica gel. So let's move ahead. So water vapors are also absorbed by anhydrous calcium chloride. Anhydrous calcium chloride can absorb water molecule on its surface. Right? Anhydrous calcium chloride can also absorb water molecule on its surface. So both of them act as a dehydrating agent. Anhydrous calcium chloride, can you recall where we have studied this? We have studied it in Pranav, I did not get your question and I'm anyways not going to answer if it is irrelevant. So anhydrous calcium chloride, can you tell me which and where we have studied it? Anhydrous calcium chloride. Very good. You have studied it in Oswald Walker method. You studied it in Oswald Walker method. Last step. Oswald Walker method. Those who were present in that class. Okay. Now let's. It is absorption of water. Sorry, I misread it. Silica gel absorb water, whereas anhydrous calcium chloride absorb water. Why it absorb water is, I was about to write, because calcium chloride can react with water to form calcium hydroxide. Okay, plus HCl, you can liberate. So silica gel absorb water, whereas anhydrous calcium chloride absorb water. There's a difference between these two, right? Anhydrous calcium chloride is hygroscopic, correct? It might be there, Pritesh. Pritesh, P nahi, S block. Now, adsorption in action. Matlab, we are going to consider one example. All of you have done the test for nitrate ion in lab. All of you have done the test for nitrate ion in lab, correct? You must have done. What is the gas coming out when you do the test of nitrate ion? I'm not asking the test, Vijay Lakshmi, I'm asking which gas comes out when you do the test for nitrate ion. You get brown fumes of NO2, correct? You get those brown fumes of NO2, right? So when you take those brown fumes of NO2 in a chamber and add activated charcoal on it, activated charcoal means carbon having a large surface area. So activated charcoal on it, when you add, so charcoal means carbon only. You will observe after some time the glass having brown color, the brown color will disappear. Why the brown color or reddish brown color will disappear? Because all the NO2 gas will be absorbed by the charcoal, right? So this is one of the method by which you can detect the presence of adsorption, right? All the NO2 gas will be adsorbed on the surface of charcoal. Can you tell me any biological process where this happens? It need not be necessary, Pranav. Pranav, I'll give you example. Copper, when it reacts with the nitrate, right? It's not necessary, Pranav. What are you talking? It may or may not. ठीक है. Can you tell me any biological importance of this process adsorption? AD. Water purification plant. Anything very much used in your body? Very good. Respiration. Which organ or which part in your body? What should I say? Which part in your body stores O2 or like exchanges O2? Very good, Sanjana. Alveoli, right? It is basically alveoli, correct? So alveoli absorb your O2 gas. Alveoli absorb your O2 gas, right? That's also example of adsorption you can take. Okay? I hope that is clear. Hemoglobin absorb O2, right? You can take that example also, right? Let's move ahead. So this thing we have already, one more experiment you can do is for the adsorption in practice is how to decide whether adsorption is happening. Like, let's say you have a lot of gas molecules. All of us know gas molecules collide with each other. Also, they collide with the gas container to exert what? Pressure of the gas. Let's say the pressure of gas is P, or you can give it a number, 1 atmosphere. Let's say. Now, when you added some adsorbent here, let's say carbon only, charcoal. When you added adsorbent here, then what will happen? It will absorb all the gas molecules on its surface. Now the number of gas molecules in the container will decrease. Most of the gas molecules are adsorbed on the surface of adsorbent. When they are adsorbed on the surface of adsorbent, they are not free to move. So they will not exert pressure on the walls. If they do not exert pressure on the walls, the number of molecules which can exert pressure on the walls is less. The number of molecules which can exert pressure on the walls is less. Therefore, the pressure of the gas will decrease. So here your pressure will come out to be, how much? 0.5 atm, let's say. The pressure of the gas will decrease. Due to adsorption, pressure of the gas will decrease, right? You can say that, Pranav. You can say that, right? All right. Now, if the all gas molecules are adsorbed, then there is a vacuum created. Correct. You are right. If you adsorb all the gas molecules, you can create a vacuum. All right. So, yeah, that's it. I was thinking about one more example. I'll come to it later. Yeah, this is your first question. This is an easy one. If you have remembered the class carefully, you'll be able to answer it. This is an easy one. Which of the following is an example of absorption? Which of the following is an example of absorption? AB. We have recently discussed it, so you should not do it wrong. Chalo, let's end this. That means all of you know this, right? Fine. So let's end this on account of 3, 2, 1 now. So Meghna and Veerbhadra, I'll check that beta. I remembered what I studied in 10th. So I answered it based on that. Maybe you know it better. So I'll check it. Chalo, let's end this on count of 3, 2, 1 now. Yes, definitely there is a saturation point of adsorption. We'll come to that. We'll come to that in adsorption isotherm Chetna. In adsorption isotherm, we'll discuss that. Right. Dhanush, why do you want to share poll results? You'll feel proud of it. Cheek, I'll share it for your understanding. Chalo. So now the answer will be, obviously, all of you know this. We have discussed it also. It is calcium chloride absorb water, whereas silica gel adsorb water, right? Hydrogen on nickel is also example of adsorption. This is also example of adsorption. O2 on a metal surface is also adsorption example. Adsorption of gas. Let me write here. Adsorption of gas on a solid surface is called occultation. It's given a separate name, occultation, right? It's given a separate name, that is occultation, right? So yeah, let's move ahead then. What are the some basic terms used in adsorption? Basically, what are the different basic terms we need to study in adsorption? So all of you know the definition of adsorption by now, AD, right? Now there is something called desorption. Desorption means if you have adsorbed something on the surface, some gas molecules are adsorbed on the surface. If you want to remove them, ideally you can. If you remove them, then the removal of adsorbed molecules from surface is called desorption. The removal of adsorbed molecules from the surface by heating or other methods is known as desorption. Correct? Veerbhadra, I have already said that yes, it is Virbhadra, not CaCl, anhydrous CaCl, right? So process of removal of adsorbate molecules from the surface of adsorbent is called desorption. Now, what is sorption? Sorption. When your adsorption and absorption, when your adsorption and absorption, AD and AB, occurs simultaneously. Occurs simultaneously. When both of them occur simultaneously, then it is called sorption, right? Then it is called sorption. Example is, if you same thing, if you take a chalk in a ink, dip it and take it out, then you cut it, you will observe ink has not gone inside because the ink concentration was very low. Then it is a case of adsorption, right? But when you dip it for 1 hour, first it will spread on the layer, then it will go inside. That means first adsorption happened, then absorption happened. When both the processes happen together, then you say it is a sorption of the process. Sorption, right? Sorption, right? So like a tissue paper sop something, right? That way. Now, a real life example of sorption is water molecules, right? Water molecules, when the roots of plant takes the water molecules, what is that process? What is that process? Mop, when mopping, you can say that. Yes, what is that process? Cotton absorbing blood. Yes, you can say that. When root molecules take water from the soil, first it will come to the surface, then it will go inside, correct? So that's how. And even if after some time you'll see some water droplets on the surface of roots. So this is an example of sorption, right? Body taking in air, I don't think so it's an example of sorption. Right, let's move ahead with the next thing. Occultation I have explained. So desorption I have explained. What is desorption? What is sorption I have explained. What is occultation I have explained that also. Okay? Now let me go towards mechanism of adsorption. Right? Does charcoal adsorb dirt? Yes, charcoal can. Charcoal can do that, depending upon what is your dirt. You can say that, Basan. Mechanism of adsorption. Mechanism of adsorption. What is an adsorption, right? How does it occur? So let us see that. So we have a diagram over here. All of you have studied a concept of surface tension. It is similar to it, right? So if there is a, this is your solvent molecule, which is acting as adsorbent. So you have taken a liquid adsorbent here. So I'm considering two molecules of liquid. One, I'm considering the molecule at the surface, and other I'm considering the molecule in the bulk. Correct? So molecule at the surface will be shared by one molecule on this side, 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 nothing on the top. So this molecule will attract this molecule in this direction. This molecule will attract it in this direction, right? And this bottom molecule will attract it in this direction, right? Let me redraw it. One molecule here, one molecule here, one molecule here, nothing on the top. So this molecule will attract it by force F in this direction. Force F in this direction will be balanced, cancel out. There is a net downward force which is not balanced by any upward force. So this molecule at the surface, experience this molecules at the surface experience net downward force. Right? It experiences the net downward force. Now, to balance this net downward force, the molecule will come and sit on the surface. So that is called adsorption. So why adsorption occurs? Adsorption occurs to balance this net downward force, right? To balance the net downward force, the adsorption occurs. Whereas the molecule in the bulk will experience a balanced force, therefore does not need any molecule to be adsorbed on its surface. So surface molecule faces net downward force. To balance this force, one molecule will come and sit on its surface, leading to adsorption. So what is the reason for adsorption to occur? The net downward force is responsible for adsorption to occur, right? Right? All right. So you can say that, Pranav. All right. It means more gravitational force. Liquid may, obviously, na, it's same thing. Whether you are saying that, you can say that gravitation plus the force attracted by this molecule, both F net, downward ही आएगा ना, Pranav, any case it will not be upward, it will be downward. हाँ Dhanush, guys, you are irritating now. Nothing else, you're just irritating. Yes, Dhanush, it will also experience atmospheric pressure. It will experience. Will it change your answer? Will it change your answer? No. Then, so your net inward force is responsible for a molecule to be attracted on its surface. Correct? All right. This is the mechanism of adsorption. Any doubt in this? You can say that, Manpreet. Any doubt in this mechanism, anyone? Right. So let's move ahead then. Yeah. Now there are some thermodynamics about adsorption. You get 1 mark question from this in your boards. And CET, NEET, everywhere. Boards के लिए 1 mark. CET, NEET, JEE. JEE में नहीं, mainly CET and NEET में questions are asked from this. Right? So, what is the thermodynamics of adsorption? How it changes? So all of you please pay attention. So what is happening during an adsorption? There is an adsorbate, there is an adsorbent, right? They come together and form a bond, correct? They form a bond, right? Now, I can define it by thermodynamics also, logically also. So if I apply thermodynamics, enthalpy of reaction is bond energy of reactant minus bond energy of product. So I can see here between the here, no, there is no bond between reactant molecules. So bond energy of be 0. And is there any bond between product molecules? Yes. So there is some energy, let's say X. So overall enthalpy is coming out to be what? Negative. You can either say that. Overall, Athar, there is a problem with your internet beta. So overall enthalpy is coming out to be negative. Correct? Now, it can be explained like this also. If bonds is formed, that means stability is achieved. Bonds are formed. Initially, there was no bond. Now, adsorbate and adsorbent come together. They form a bond, kind of a bond, attraction. So, due to a bond or attraction, stability increases. Stability increases means energy decreases. So, if it was at 10 joule energy, now it will come to 2 joule. So, when it comes from 10 joule to 2 joule, how much energy it will lose? It will lose 8 joule of energy. It will lose 8 joule of energy. That means the process is exothermic. Delta H for adsorption is exothermic. So adsorption is an exothermic process. Whereas desorption, when you remove them, is an endothermic process. Adsorption is an exothermic process. Desorption is an endothermic process. Right? Is that clear, everyone? We have discussed delta G. We'll go to delta S and delta. We have discussed delta H. We'll go to delta S and delta G. Is that clear, everyone? Right. Let us take the next property, that is change in entropy. So all of you observe this carefully, how the entropy changes. Initially, your adsorbate, your adsorbent, both of them are moving randomly. They are dancing initially. They are initially dancing aram se. So when the adsorption occurs, both of them are attracted to each other. And when they are attracted to each other, they cannot easily move. Correct? So randomness decreases. Randomness here is more, here randomness decreases. So due to adsorption, randomness decreases. And if randomness decreases, what will happen to entropy? Randomness is nothing but entropy. So entropy final is less, entropy initial is more. So delta S is S final minus S initial. It will come out to be what? Negative. Entropy decreases, entropy is negative. Any doubt in this? Anyone? Anyone, any doubt in this? Any doubts in this? All right. So I don't think so you have doubts. I can't see them. Right. Now next, delta G. What happens to delta G? Right. So how the adsorption will become spontaneous? For adsorption to be spontaneous, delta G should be negative. And non-spontaneous case, delta G should be positive. Let us not consider non-spontaneous condition now. So let us see this carefully. How your delta G will be negative? If I take delta H, it is negative plus T. Delta S is also negative. Correct? So if I take any point, if I take any temperature, basically, if I take any temperature, usually the lower temperature, right, your delta G will come out to be negative only, right? Delta G will come out to be negative only, and the process will be spontaneous. The process will be spontaneous, right? Now, right. Now, if you take the low temperature, it is spontaneous. What happens at higher temperature? If you increase the temperature, what happens to desorption if you increase the temperature? Sorry, what happens to adsorption if you increase the temperature? Right? When you start increasing the temperature, what will happen to entropy? When you start increasing the temperature, what will happen to entropy? What will happen to entropy? Gauri, how can entropy decrease on increasing the temperature? When you increase the temperature, entropy will increase, right? Entropy is negative now. When you start increasing the temperature, your entropy will become positive. But delta H is negative, right? So at high temperature, entropy becomes positive, delta H becomes negative, and the magnitude of delta H will become equal to T delta S. Magnitude of delta H will become equal to T delta S. And if this is negative, this is positive. So overall delta H plus T delta S will become 0. So delta G will come out to be 0. That means when is delta G 0? At equilibrium. So when you start increasing the temperature, at a particular temperature, the entropy T delta S magnitude will become equal to delta H magnitude, and the process will become equilibrium condition, right? It will attain an equilibrium condition. Neither the rate at which adsorption and desorption occurs will be equal. The rate at which adsorption and desorption occurs will be equal. Is that clear, everyone? So if somebody asks what is the thermodynamics of adsorption, you'll say delta G less than 0, delta S less than 0, delta H also less than 0. All these three terms are less than 0. Right? Is that clear, everyone? Last slide. This was your last slide, Monisha. This was your last slide. Yes, is that clear, everyone? Delta H, delta S, delta G. Is that clear? Can you once again delta G at low temperature? Low temperature is easy, Naren. Low temperature means what? Delta H is negative. Delta S is negative. Since the temperature is low, entropy will not increase. So entropy will remain negative. So this is negative. This is also negative. So plus, minus, minus. So minus T delta S you'll write and minus delta H you'll write. So negative, negative. Overall delta G will come out to be what? Negative. So if delta G is negative, process will be spontaneous. Is that clear? Yes, at a very high temperature, desorption will increase. There will be a particular temperature at which equilibrium will be attained. At a very high temperature, desorption will occur. T delta S is positive if S is negative. If delta S is negative, T delta S will be positive. How? Temperature is not negative, na? Temperature is low. Temperature is not negative. Basan. Sir, always entropy decrease depends on temperature. Yes, entropy is a function of temperature. Ha, Ganesh, but you see here, na, it does not matter. Acha, you are saying that way. Ha, you can say that way also. Now I understand you are taking from this point of view. If you take it from this equation also, you have already assumed delta G to be negative here. If you take it from this point, this equation also, this is negative minus T delta S is negative. Okay. If you take it here, delta S negative, then your delta G will be negative plus T delta S, positive quantity. So delta H is negative and delta S is positive. So for overall delta G to be negative, your delta H negative quantity should be greater than positive quantity, right? So then your delta H from this equation, if you consider, for spontaneity, delta H should be greater than T delta S. Magnitude. Magnitude of delta H should be greater than T delta S. This is if you consider this equation, right? And yeah, then this will be wrong. Your answer will be, I think they have done there's a problem with this sign here. So if you consider this equation, delta G is delta H negative. Let me rewrite it again. Minus T delta S is negative. So it is minus plus. So now plus T delta S. So negative magnitude should be greater than positive magnitude. That means that magnitude of delta H should be greater than magnitude of T delta S. Right? It is considering this equation, Ganesh. Now that is what we need to see. Aha. I understood what they are considering here. They have just taken the magnitudes here. They have considered it with sign. They have considered it with sign. So if you consider it with sign, then this should be changed. This will not be this. It will be delta H greater than T delta S. correct it, it will be delta H greater than T delta S. They have given opposite. That's what I said. No, correct it. It will be delta H magnitude should be greater than T delta S. Magnitude of delta H should be greater than T delta S. Okay? Yes. So these are the conditions for adsorption to be a spontaneous process. Any doubt in this? Anyone? Any doubt in this? Anyone? अरे नहीं भाई, delta G. Athar, I have done pura calculation here. Now you are saying delta G will be positive. No, Athar, this is a mistake. There will be delta G will be negative when magnitude of delta H is greater than T delta S. You check here, na? I have done the calculation. Delta H is negative. Delta S is also negative. This whole term will become plus. So for delta G to be negative, negative quantity should be greater than positive quantity. So delta H magnitude should be greater than T delta S. Then only your delta G will be negative. For delta G to be negative only, I said no, delta H should be greater than T delta S. Negative quantity should be greater than positive quantity. Then only your delta G will be negative. Correct? All right. So there is a question for you. This is a previous year NEET question. Which of the following is not applicable to adsorption? Which of the following is not applicable to adsorption? This is a previous year NEET question. So as I said, this thermodynamics is important for your NEET and CET. In NEET and CET, you get a lot of questions on this. Right. So let's end this on a count of 3, 2, 1. Now. Yeah. So yes, obviously, as I told you, everything should be negative. So your wrong option is A. So your answer is A. Delta H should be less than 0. Right. Now we need to consider what are the different types of adsorption. What are the different types of adsorption? There are general 2 types of adsorption we encounter in our adsorption topic. What are those 2 types of adsorption? Right. So those 2 types of adsorption are physical adsorption, which is also known as physisorption, or chemical adsorption, which is also known as chemisorption. Right. Physical adsorption, physisorption, chemical adsorption, chemisorption. Let us see few differences between them. What are the differences between these 2 types of adsorption? Right. In physisorption, between your adsorbate and between your adsorbent, the force of interaction, as you can see present here, is weak van der Waals force. Between your adsorbate and your adsorbent, weak van der Waals force is present. Right? That's why it is shown dotted. You can see here. Whereas in chemisorption, the force present between your adsorbate and adsorbent is shown by a dark line, is your strong chemical bonds, which can be covalent or ionic. Right? So adsorption may, chemisorption, we have strong forces between chemical bond or ionic bond between adsorbate and adsorbent. In physisorption, between adsorbate and adsorbent, you have weak van der Waals force. Right? I hope that is clear. Now, based on this, can you tell me among these 2, which will be reversible? Which will be reversible among these 2? What do you feel which will be reversible among these 2? Yes, very good. Physical adsorption will be reversible because since the force is weak, you can easily break it and remove it, then again bring it. Right? So therefore, you can say physisorption is reversible, whereas chemisorption, it requires lot of energy to break this bond, therefore it is irreversible. Okay? This is another difference. Now we'll see the characteristics of physics option first, then chemist option. Right? Some of them at least. Characteristics of physics option. Right? What is the characteristics of physics option? First, lack of specificity. Why there is a lack of specificity? So if you see gas molecules, there are 5 gas molecules. Which gas molecule will get adsorbed on this adsorbent in physics option? All of them. Why all of them? Can anybody explain why all of them will get adsorbed? Why all of them get adsorbed? Because as I told you, van der Waals force is the most common force. Van der Waals force is a most common force. जहां भी कोई force नहीं होता, wherever there is no force, always there is a van der Waals force. Wherever between two objects, if there is no force, there will be always molecules. We are talking about molecules. Whenever there is a two molecules, there is no force between them. Always which will be force present? Van der Waals force. So even if, and since physics option require only van der Waals force, and van der Waals force is present among all the molecules, therefore all the molecules can get adsorbed on it easily. Right? It does not require any specific criteria. Physics option is present everywhere, therefore all the molecules can be adsorbed. So therefore it is not specific. It is not specific. It is not specific. Is that clear? Yes, guys. Is that clear, everyone? Right. Let's take the next property, that is nature of adsorbate. Nature of adsorbate. This is very important. More questions have come from it. More questions have come from it. If I take, there are a lot of different gas molecules. We know from states of matter that every gas molecule have a different critical temperature given by 8a by 27 Rb. 8a by 27 Rb, right? So now it is asked which gas will be adsorbed more. So if you have various gases, different gas molecules, which gas will be absorbed more? The gas having high critical temperature, the gas having high critical temperature will be adsorbed more. The gas having high critical temperature will be adsorbed more. Why is it so? Why gas having high critical temperature will be adsorbed more? Can anybody answer anything? Why gas having more critical temperature will be adsorbed more? Very good, Adesh. So a gas having more critical temperature will have more A value, right? More A value means what? More is the force of attraction, right? More is the force of attraction means what? More is the force of attraction means what? Its randomness is not very high. It is not moving randomly, correct? If it is not moving randomly, so it can settle down at the surface of adsorbent easily. Now think it from this point of view. There are two gas molecules, A and B. One, and there is an adsorbent, nickel surface, let's say. So O2 gas and H2 gas, you can take whatever you want. Gas A is moving very randomly, whereas gas B is moving aram se. Gas A is moving randomly, B is moving aram se. So which gas will settle on the adsorbent easily? The gas which is moving randomly or the gas which is moving aram se? The gas which is moving slowly, which is aram se moving, will settle on the adsorbent easily, right? Why that gas is moving slowly? Because its critical temperature is high. Critical temperature is high means A value is high. Van der Waals gas constant A. What does it measure? It measures force of attraction. So force of attraction, if it is more, then gas cannot move randomly, right? So therefore, the gas moving aram se will settle down easily and get adsorbed. So gas having high critical temperature, high A value will get adsorbed more. Will get adsorbed more. Is that point clear? You get questions from this. NEET and JEE mein you get question from this. Is that clear, everyone? Right. What is the role of critical temperature? TC on the adsorption of gases on the solid surface. I have already explained, right? Critical temperature is directly proportional to adsorption. I have explained the reason also, right? This means A is more. A is more means force of attraction is more. That means randomness is less. Therefore, settle easily on adsorbent. Therefore, settle easily on adsorbent. Correct? Now, you can see here, I have some examples here. I have gases SO2, ammonia, CO2, H2. You can see the critical temperature 430, 406, 304, 33. So which gas will be adsorbed maximum if I keep all of them in nickel surface? Which gas will get adsorbed first? SO2, high critical temperature. Then ammonia. Then CO2. Then H2. So I hope this point is clear, right? These values are also given in ml. 380 ml, 180 ml, 48 ml, 4.5 ml. So I've considered all the data. Yes, Ganesh, you can take this. All right. So there is one question here. I'll upload the notes. You can practice it. I wanted to discuss, but we don't have time much. Right. So you can practice this. That's all for today. We'll continue the same topic tomorrow. Tomorrow class is important. We'll consider adsorption isotherm tomorrow. Please do not miss it. Right? Please do not miss it. Now let us do today's quiz also. It's an easy one. If you have studied your Chota classes seriously, it's an easy one. Yeah. Eskimos are very good hunters. All of us know Eskimos are very good hunters, but they never hunt penguins. Why they never hunt penguins? Ravi Kiran, delta S is of the process. Adsorbate का delta S कैसे होगा बेटा? Process का delta S होगा. और yes, you can say अगर adsorbate का कम होगा तो entropy का भी कम हो जाएगा. दोनों का कम होगा. Both will be less. Why they don't hunt penguins? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Arey. Eskimos stay in North Pole, and penguins are usually found in South Pole. They don't like taste of penguin. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. Eskimos usually stay in North Pole, and penguins are usually found in South Pole. That's the actual reason. Now you can understand the cartoon also. What does it try to say? This sword is only till the surface. It's not even reaching the surface. But this sword has gone through. So this represents your absorption. And this represents your adsorption. Right? Adsorption in liquid phase. Sir, is Eskimos, is sea lion? That I don't know. I need to check. I don't think so. They don't stay in seas. Eskimos are like humans only. They are hunters. Eskimos are humans only which stay in that U-shaped hut, ice ka hut. You know. What is critical temperature? Athab, you need to read it. Critical temperature, I can define it. It is igloo, correct. Critical temperature is the temperature above which a gas cannot be liquefied. Does not matter how much pressure you apply. You apply whatever pressure you want above a critical temperature, you cannot liquefy a gas. Right? Yeah, there are type of Adivasis, correct, in polar regions. Yes, Bharat, you are 100% right. I need to check that, Ravi Kiran. I'll check and let you know. Very good, Preksha. When you will have, in another 15 days, you'll have another empty. Another 15 days, you'll have another empty. 15 to 20 days. Let's see. Chalo, let's end this, guys. I have another class lined up. Thank you all for joining in. This Sunday, there is a chapter test. There are pending chapter tests. It has been scheduled. Capacitors, बायो में 1 चैप्टर, केमिस्ट्री में सॉल्यूशंस। चलो, प्रिपेयर वेल फॉर दैट। Good luck, all of you. Have a good time on LMS app both. Chalo, bye bye guys. Thank you Neerja. Thank you Shreyas, Nareen, thank you. Bye Muktamani. Thank you Kishore. Thank you Chandana. Chandan, sorry. Yeah, let's end this now. Boards module are uploaded, Aditya. You can check. It is uploaded till 5th chapter. Thank you, Abhishek.